Young Junk!
Welcome to the Micheaux Mission, 2 Men, 1 podcast, every black film ever made. My name is Vincent Williams, and I'm joined as always by my partner.
Hey, holla at your boy. This is Len, a.k.a. the Bat Tribble.
And on this stop, as we continue our journey through Bootober, as we watch films featuring the spooky, ooky supernatural, tonight's stop, a classic genre or subgenre, the haunted house.
Yeah.
We'll be spending time with a haunted house. Mm-hmm. In fact, 2020's His House.
Yeah, not just the haunted house, his house.
His House, where we'll see the haunted house with a bit of an international flair, a film chosen by Lynn Webb.
Yes.
But before we talk about His House and decide whether or not it should be our house, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Vincent. How about yourself?
I am also doing well. Also doing well.
Shout out to everyone out there who are watching us as we stream live from Young Junk, Philadelphia's premier video podcast palace, here in Manayunk, to X, to to Instagram. And we're not even streaming to Instagram. We're streaming to YouTube, where you are out there in the chat watching us as we stream live. Hello, missionaries.
Good evening, one and all.
We'll have a very enjoyable show for you this evening in Bootober.
Hopefully.
Okay, that's right. Knock on wood. But as has happened a few too many times recently here on the mission, we are going to have to start things on a bit of a sorrowful note, as the Micheaux mission, as well as the world of Hollywood, says goodbye to Tony Vaz. Tonivaz. Tony Vaz, who may not be familiar to all of you. She passed away recently, last week actually, at the age of 101 years young.
Good run. Good run.
I mean, there are runs and then there are runs.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Tony Vaz was actually, for those who don't know, an actress, model, activist, and is noted as Hollywood's first black stunt woman. Her trailblazing career started in 1951 in TV and movies, often appearing as an extra or performing stunts for Cicely Tyson, Eartha Kitt, Juanita Moore, and many more. She has appeared in over 50 TV shows and movies and has over 20,000 hours of performance. And that's enough to for us to honor her here on the Micheaux Mission. But it is not the number one reason. The number one reason why she is being honored today is because Tony, who was indeed a true leader, wanted better roles besides maids and hookers for herself and fellow people of color in Hollywood, and envisioned an awards ceremony as elegant and as lavish as the Academy Awards. So she founded and created the prestigious NAACP Image Awards to thank Hollywood producers for hiring people of color in more positive roles like nurses and lawyers. The inaugural NAACP Image Award was held on August 13th, 1967 at the International Ballroom of the Beverly Hills Hotel. How's that?
That's really impressive.
That is very
really impressive.
Very impressive. It was only in 2021, after a 50-year wait of denying Vaz her rightful credit, that the president of the NAACP at the time, Derek Johnson, finally recognized and honored Tony Vaz as its founder and creator of the Image Awards at its 52nd anniversary. She was surprised and wholeheartedly welcomed the honor.
I feel like there's a story there.
I'm sure there is.
What?
You know what? It's probably
What is that?
1967. This woman who's a stunt woman.
Right.
So
we're not going to give her the credit.
Not going to give her the credit. And who knows? You know, she comes up with this idea, and they run with it.
Run with it.
And they start putting their names on.
Don't give her credit.
Don't give her credit for over 50 years. In 2020, Vaz was featured in MPTV's Real Stories, Real Lives event with her story told by the NAACP Image Award recipient Angela Bassett.
Nice.
She actually was approved to be honored with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 2025.
Okay.
So we'll see whether or not they continue with that intention to honor her. But she passed at the age of 101 years young, and we wanted the Micheaux Mission and her family to know that we honor her.
Absolutely.
And her career.
Well done.
Yes. Yeah. 101 years old. You know what? And you know, she was a stunt woman.
Yeah.
So that's why she could be long lived.
Right.
And I got a funny feeling that at 101, she probably was like looking at her bucket list. She's like, well, I'm good.
Did that.
Did that.
You
know, let's see what's the next.
Yeah. Excellent.
So beautiful. So there we go. We wanted to get that, make sure that we honored her. Now it's time that we honor you by seeing what's on your mind via your emails, or as we like to call them,
missives from the missionaries.
So what else is going on, Lynn?
We have emails, Vincent.
Ooh, missives from the missionaries.
Ooh.
Missives from the missionaries.
Missives from the missionaries, Vincent. We have an email from Corey P.
Hey, what's up, Corey?
Is Juice and the Nightmare Before Christmas horror Halloween or Christmas movie? Since it is Boo-tober, I pose two movies that are left field and not related, but I want your insight. Do you think the movie Juice is considered a horror movie? Is Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas a Halloween or Christmas movie? Corey weighs in. I picked Juice because every time I watch a review of it, there are some people in the comments saying that it turned into a horror movie once Bishop got the gun and killed Raheem.
Yeah.
I don't consider it a horror movie necessarily, but I can see the budding horror elements from Ernest Dickerson, since I believe he stated he is a fan of the horror genre. Love to hear your thoughts. And then she gives a side note, a musical side note. I'll leave that there. What do you think about the idea of Juice possibly being considered a horror movie?
I don't know if it's a horror movie. I mean, it's obviously a thriller.
Yeah, I think it's more. I think that's where the thriller part of it comes in.
Right. I do think Ernest Dickerson maybe uses the language of the horror movie, and it's interesting. I don't remember whether or not that came up when we talked about Demon Knight.
We did,
which is the horror movie that he did actually direct.
Yes,
but you know, certainly, as Corey says, when Bishop gets the gun, he becomes a boogeyman.
Yeah, he does.
You know, there are jump scares and he just sort of shows up and
you know, it's Tupac with those
with
those eyes.
Right. It's so good.
Yeah. So I can definitely see it, but you're right. I think it's the thriller.
Right.
That's that's when Juice stops becoming just this hip hop movie.
Yeah.
And it moves into like a real ooh.
But he definitely has that Jason energy.
Oh, he does.
You know.
Oh, he does.
You know, it's that wonderful moment when Omar Epps says, "What you gonna do? Shoot me in a crowded elevator?" And then he takes out a gun and starts shooting.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, he really is sort of unstoppable.
Right.
So,
Corey has a side note. The one missionary that asked which albums they wish they were there to see the creation of, I would say, and list a few: The Low End Theory.
That's a good one.
What's Going On?
Yeah. Really intense, I think.
Paid in Full.
I actually don't know how much I'd want to be around Paid in Full.
I don't think I would want to.
Yeah,
I don't see that being like a fun experience.
I feel like Rakim and Eric B in 1986.
Yeah.
I want to like them from a distance.
Because they wanted to like each other from a distance.
Right. Right.
Love Deluxe by Sade.
Oh, well.
That's a whole nother can of worms.
Well.
And either Inner Visions or Songs in the Key of Life.
Yeah. I always think, I always wonder about the musicians in the Stevie Wonder sessions. Like, I don't understand how you're able to be there with him while it's happening.
Why you're saying that?
It's because it's too much. It's like looking in the face of God or something. Like, I just feel like I'd get a nosebleed or, it's just too much.
See, I would probably go for Inner Visions only because Songs of the Key of Life is 3 albums.
Yeah.
And 2 45s.
Yeah.
I ain't got that much studio time. Like honestly, I would be there for Stevie to do As.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, okay, I'm good.
Right.
I see you, bro.
Right.
I see you. Like that's a lot of music.
That's it. Look again, and it's really intense.
Yeah. And this is the days of big bands being in there. No.
Yeah.
I don't know about that one. Okay. We got an email from Michael Sykes.
Well, we never talked about The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, is that a Christmas or a Halloween movie?
I think it's a Halloween movie.
You think it's a Halloween movie
do.
because
it takes place during Halloween, and Sandy Claus actually only appears when they kidnap him.
Yes.
They have a whole song about it, actually.
Yes.
But then that's it.
Yes.
Then the rest of it is just Jack realizing his nature is to be the Pumpkin King.
Right.
You saw Oogie Boogie, the voice of Oogie Boogie died.
Yes, I did.
A few weeks ago, yeah.
I think it lives in both.
Really?
Yeah, I think it lives in both.
That's really
I could definitely see you. I mean, yes. Is it a Halloween movie?
You're a bit of a traditionalist and a hardliner.
I am,
movies.
but this is one of those things that it expertly, is on the fence. If you want to see it as a Halloween movie, God bless. If you want to see it as a Christmas movie, God bless. I think at the end of the day, I think it's a movie worth seeing.
Sure, absolutely.
So
do you watch it during Christmas? Have
No.
you ever watched it during Christmas?
No. But that's because I enjoy it for the artistry. Mm-hmm. And some of the songs are kind of catchy. Mm-hmm. But after about the second or third time, I don't need to see it anymore.
Pop quiz, what's your favorite Tim Burton movie?
Oh, that's a good question. It probably, off the top of my head, I'm going to say is Ed Wood.
Really?
Yeah, I like Ed Wood. What's yours?
I'm going to go with Batman 89 or Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah, I was going to say Edward Scissorhands, but Ed Wood, I enjoy Ed Wood more. And Batman 89, I'm hot and cold on that.
I think Edward Scissorhands is pure.
Yes.
I do think it gets to the point where there's a not even a slickness. You can tell he's rich. Like
Talking
that,
about
Tim Burton,
Okay.
that mania that you get in early Tim Burton. There's a moment, and it's probably after Batman 89, where it gets a little he's that mania isn't there anymore.
Right.
Like
because now
he knows even if I crash out, I'm good.
I got another shot at it.
Right.
Right. Especially in that.
I always felt like he should have made Sleepy Hollow earlier.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Because that's something that very much should have been chaotic and really kind of scary, and it wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but all right, I was just wondering. We're sitting here talking, but all right.
Email from Michael Sykes.
Okay, hey Michael.
Hey, Len and Vincent. I recently listened to y'all podcast episode of the 1998 film I Got the Hookup. Even though y'all all ripped it apart, I enjoyed y'all criticizing the movie so much, I can't wait till y'all give an honest review to these movies. Some I like, some of them I don't like. Oh, so he's waiting for us to review the following movies.
Right, he's putting him on the chopping block.
Yes.
Okay.
How to Be a Player, starring Bill Bellamy.
Oh my God,
That's been close to being picked a couple of times.
Bill Bellamy's persona rubs me the wrong way.
You know what? It does me too. It does me too.
Obviously I don't know the man.
Right.
And his public persona isn't necessarily his private actual persona. But like that Bill Bellamy brand has always rubbed me the wrong way. I just don't like it.
Not too long.
And How to Be a Player was like
pure.
Yeah. The Bill Bellamy brand.
Not too long ago, maybe a couple of months ago, I saw Bill Bellamy. He was sitting in on Shaquille O'Neal's podcast, right? Where it was revealed, I didn't know, that they had long time been friends, hung out over the years. And they're just going back over old stories. And I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm a fan of Shaquille O'Neal's podcast.
Okay.
I could not finish that episode because Bill Bellamy was there's a I don't know. You're right. It's like this, it's like oil.
It's like reptilian.
Yeah.
The way, like I can't even quite really put my finger on why.
It just doesn't wear well.
Yeah.
Right.
Loved him in Love Jones though.
Yes.
Loved him in Love Jones.
But that's because
right.
It fit him.
Right.
It fit him.
Right.
He did well in it. You know what it is? He's not, because I've seen him do stand-up, and I thought he was okay.
Yeah.
I never thought he was a great stand-up.
Yeah.
But he's not good enough an actor to pull off those roles. Case in point, like Terrence Howard. Terrence Howard is good enough an actor so that the slickness comes off, but you still are enjoying him because you can see, all right, I know you got some skills. Now, I've heard some stuff about him on the other side, but I'm just talking about on camera.
Right.
But Bill Bellamy on camera, it's just too much. It's too much.
So.
All right, so another film that he's looking forward to us reviewing, The Players Club.
Never, yeah.
The Janky Promoters, starring Ice Cube.
Isn't that Ice Cube and Mike Epps? Is Mike Epps in
I
that?
believe so, yes.
I have a soft spot for Ice Cube and Mike Epps together.
Okay. Next Day Air.
I don't even know what that is.
I think that's also a Mike Epps movie. Held Up, starring Jamie Foxx. What's the Worst That Can Happen, starring Danny DeVito and Martin Lawrence.
I quietly like that film.
The Black Knight, another Martin Lawrence film.
I hate that film.
Foolish, starring Eddie Griffin.
I hate that film.
Ride, starring Malik Yopa.
I don't remember that film.
Original Gangsters.
I love Original Gangsters.
Yeah, I know you like that movie. I know you like that movie.
Get off my lawn, the Blaxploitation edition.
Big Mama's House.
Oh my God, I hated Big Mama's House.
And Tyler Perry's Divorce in the Black. I wasn't even aware of that movie.
Oh, that's the new one. Yeah, that's a fairly new one. That's the one with Megan Good and Corey Hardwick.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, I'm not aware of that movie.
Yeah.
Can't wait till y'all.
My daughter was a big advocate of that movie. She was like, "Oh, Dad, you got to watch this."
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And have you watched it?
I watched the opening scene where the woman gets angry and drags her son's body out of the funeral, out of the coffin. Yeah, it's that kind of movie. Yeah.
Okay, so it's purposefully over the top.
You know,
You can never tell.
like.
So he's
I really hope
he trying to do
like
his
I really,
Wayans movie
or telenovela. Like I really want Tyler Perry to lean into black telenovela.
It sounds like he is a woman dragging the guy out of.
I don't know. You know, it's always a matter of how much is he in on the joke, and how much is he just oblivious and doing this shtick. You know, not to relitigate it, but you know, that's my defense of acrimony, where I feel like he's in on the joke a little bit. Mm-hmm. I can see your blood pressure rising from here.
Michael continues, I know it's haunting for y'all to review a lot of these movies, but let's face it, at some point, you've got to do it.
It's true.
You can run, but you can't hide.
Got to do all of them.
Love your fan, Michael Sykes.
Thank you, Michael.
Very true, Michael. And we got one last email, and this is from Michael Lockett.
What's up, Michael?
Len and Vince, I've said it before, and I will say it till the cows come home. The Micheaux mission is introducing films to me, and I assume many others, is what really makes the show special.
Oh, thanks.
Since so much content is flying around, it's easy to miss something as spectacular as Talk to Me.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm exhausted by most American horror/thriller projects. I started venturing to find films in Africa, Eurasia. Talk to Me was smart and emotional work. The filmmakers should be proud if this is their first outing. The Ghouls Next Door were perfect guests for this, as they gave an insight that perhaps only the women in your lives could have given.
Yeah,
good point.
Absolutely.
Shout out to Gabe and Kat, who were our guests last week. On my time travels, I landed with you two as you critique 1974's Amazing Grace. Although the premise was fair, the writing or editing failed to give us the love letter to the Chitlin Circuit, as this was more than likely intended to be. That said, it was good to see some of the people that I only really knew about after listening to my parents talk about them.
Yeah.
I got the nostalgia and raced down a rabbit hole of YouTube clips with Moms, Mabley, Red Fox, Flip Wilson, and many more.
Oh, yeah. That's a good rabbit hole.
A quick and maybe, like me, an impossible question to answer. Who would you two rank as the top 5 acts, music and comedy, to ever get their ticket to star status on the Chitlin Circuit? With so many that change music and entertainment, I couldn't pick 5. Maybe I didn't want to offend the ancestors by picking. All the best, Michael. So the top 5 acts of music and comedy who, I guess, elevated from the Chitlin Circuit.
Yeah.
I mean, well, number one's got to be Red.
Right. Got it. Yeah.
I mean,
Always start with Red Fox from the Chitlin Circuit.
yeah. Mom's definitely made a name for herself.
Mom's Mabley.
So I'd probably say her second.
I always have a soft spot for Pigmeat Markham, who had a moment.
Yeah, but did he rise to star status?
I mean, here comes the judge.
Okay.
You know.
Okay. All right, fair. Yeah, you know what? It's hard pressed because Red is going to be number 1.
Sure.
But if Mom's is number 2, most likely, there's not a lot of people that rose to Mom's status. I mean, there's some that rose to prominence.
Sure.
But did they rise to star status?
Sure. Did Nipsey Russell come from the Chitlin Circuit? I don't know his background.
I don't think he started on the Chitlin Circuit. I actually think that he started on stage.
All right. I mean, but that could have been on the Chitlin Circuit.
Yeah, but for some reason I thought that, I don't think he, let me look.
Would you put Rudy Ray Moore in there?
Well, okay, but if you're going to go Ray Moore, then you can go for a lot of people from.
Well, when would you say the Chitlin
Blaxploitation.
Circuit kind of ended? Like, are we in the 60s? Or would you say it was before the 60s?
I would say the Chitlin Circuit was probably in and around the 60s. Yeah, like I'm looking up Nipsey Russell. He okay, maybe he was. Because you said Mantan Moreland, right?
No, I said
No, you said Pig Feet
Markham.
Yeah, 1952, Nipsey Russell had a stage act with Mantan Moreland, where he was basically played his straight man.
Okay.
And then from there, he elevated to from there he goes to being on the Ed Sullivan Show, the Tonight Show.
Right. So then,
that's right. I forgot.
Then
I forgot. He's actually has a recurring role on Car 54. Where are you? So he
sure did.
Yeah. So I didn't think he was like. I wouldn't say he was. I mean, maybe he. Okay. I always figured like the Chitlin Circuit was like the 50s and 60s because I don't see the Chitlins. Like, I don't think that Sammy Davis Jr. was Chitlin Circuit. I mean, he was vaudeville, and maybe there was a vein of vaudeville that maybe was just.
What was the name? What was the Ray? What was his uncle's name?
Who's uncle?
Sammy Davis Jr.'s uncle. Where 'cause he was in the something trio.
Yeah, I can't.
Like when he was a kid, maybe.
Yeah, but I don't think that was Chitlin Circuit. I think that was vaudeville.
Oh no, that was Chitlin Circuit.
What?
I don't know how many black people were on vaudeville.
Sammy was.
No, Sammy was.
And so was Nipsey Russell.
Nipsey Russell wasn't on no damn vaudeville. That's the Chitlin Circuit.
I'm looking right here.
What year are we talking?
Oh no. He was
Yeah.
in the 50s.
Yeah, that's the Chitlin Circuit.
Well, Sammy had to be in vaudeville because that was back in the 20s, 30s.
There were no black people on vaudeville. It was a Chitlin Circuit. That's why it was a Chitlin Circuit. Because racism.
I bet he was on. I bet his thing says he was in vaudeville.
No, not with his uncles. Not with what is the name of the
Well, it's the Will
something
Maston Trio.
Right, the Will Maston Trio. They weren't on no damn vaudeville.
At age 2, Sammy Davis Jr. began his career in vaudeville with his father, Sammy Davis Sr., and the Will Maston Trio.
How are we calling
and they toured nationally.
Yes, I knew that, but
That's vaudeville. It's not the Chitlin Circuit. It was vaudeville.
Well, what is
yes,
the
it was
difference?
maybe a lower rung of vaudeville, but it was considered vaudeville. It wasn't. I'm reading it right here.
look, I hear you, but all right. Yeah.
So now okay. Let's look up the Chitlin Circuit.
Right, like what differentiates the Chitlin Circuit from vaudeville?
Okay. The Chitlin Circuit was a collection of performance venues,
Right.
found throughout the East, South, and Upper Midwest areas of the United States.
So this was black audiences. So maybe that's
But also,
the difference.
and also the
Who's
venues,
audience,
and the venues,
right?
right?
But the venues kind of okay. So you were saying Will Maston had white audience?
They had white audiences. They were on vaudeville.
Okay. I did not know that until this exact second. I thought Will Maston Trio, like I really thought white people didn't know about Sammy Davis Jr. until he was a teenager.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I thought
because he was like the little kid. They were
Right? No, I understand that, but I thought
white
that was
people.
a black audience.
No, it was
Yeah.
white people.
Okay,
it was
all
white
right.
people. It was white people. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
There you go. And it's saying here that the Chitlin Circuit pretty much ran from the 30s through the 60s,
Sure.
which sounds about right.
Sure.
Okay. All right. Notable performers from the Chitlin Circuit. Okay, here we go. I'm going to read a name. You tell me who. Well, damn near all of these are A-list. So all of these people played at some point in the Chitlin Circuit. And I'm just going to go through a few of them. Aretha Franklin.
Yeah. I figured, right. The Apollo and all of those probably counted as the Chitlin Circuit.
I don't know if the Apollo counted as a Chitlin
Now
Circuit.
you gonna tell me it was white people at the Apollo in 1952?
But I'm wondering whether or not they would consider that the
The Chitlin Circuit.
Chitlin Circuit. That's
Is
all.
there a list of the Chitlin?
Well, it's saying notable venues, and I'm looking in New York, and the Apollo is not coming up. As a matter of fact, there's not
Interesting.
There's not as far as notable venues of the Chitlin Circuit. The only one that is in New York State, or at least that I'm seeing, is in Rochester.
Oh well, that's completely false. Obviously, there were Chitlin Circuit stops in New York.
I'm looking
City.
to see. Yes, but I'm saying of the notable ones.
Right.
Okay, no, you're right. You're right, because it had it listed under Harlem. Okay. So it's saying Cotton Club, of course, Small's Paradise, and the Apollo Theater. The Apollo Theater.
How was the Cotton Club on there? Because the audience was white at the Cotton Club.
But I guess they considered maybe they had Chitlin Circuit nights or something. I don't know. What do you want me to tell you?
What is this? Is this Wikipedia?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All
Okay,
right.
well-
It's already falling apart.
It's not that. It's not falling apart.
No. If we said that,
They're saying it's a notable venue.
No.
So you're
I'm saying what differentiates the Chitlin Circuit from vaudeville, and the working definition we came up with 30 seconds ago,
Yes.
which worked for me, is the audience.
Yes.
So a white audience would be vaudeville. A black audience would be the Chitlin Circuit. The Cotton Club infamously had a white audience. So how was that a Chitlin Circuit stop?
Because it doesn't mean that it could not have been a venue for people that were on the Chitlin Circuit to play. So it was a notable space in the Chitlin Circuit. No, did they probably look at themselves as being on Chitlin Circuit when they're at the Cotton Club? No, but they were artists that were primarily performed at the Chitlin Circuit, but they also would sometimes play at the Cotton Club.
I think we need another source besides Wikipedia. We need to get like a book. We'll go and research, because this is actually quite interesting.
Well, you know what? Can we do a binge lounge about the Chitlin Circuit?
Probably not, but we'll look. But this is quite interesting.
Why can't we do it?
I said probably not. I didn't
Which
say
means no.
No means no. We all learned that.
Oh.
And silence doesn't mean yes. You gonna name some people besides?
Oh, okay. You still looking for
Give me 5.
Okay. So I said Aretha Franklin. Billie Holiday. Cab Calloway.
Sure.
Count Basie. Dionne Warwick.
Dionne Warwick.
Yeah. Gladys Knight and the Pips.
I mean, look.
I guess. Yeah, I
Right.
guess so. James Brown and the Famous Flames.
Well, you know that.
Yeah, we know that.
Yeah.
Just going to scroll down here. Of course, Red Fox, Richard Pryor, the Jackson 5. I wouldn't have seen them as playing, I guess.
Pretty early.
Yeah, I guess really, really early.
Pretty early.
Wilson Pickett.
So just everybody black.
Dude, it's everybody. I mean,
Everybody
it's everybody. It's everybody. Patti LaBelle.
Sure, just everybody black.
It's everybody.
All of the blacks were on the Chitlin Circuit.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Kareem.
I'm joking.
Oh.
I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking.
He was like doing some big ass karate. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and big ass karate. Why was he so big doing karate in The Last Dragon? I mean, Enter the Dragon. Even as a kid, I was like, this is a really weird visual right here.
It was a very strange visual. Very strange visual. Okay.
All right.
Okay. That was funny. Thank you for that. All right. Those are our emails.
All right.
We couldn't pick 5, Michael. Or if we could have picked
All of the blacks.
All the blacks. There you go.
Up until 1971.
Yes. All right.
All right.
Now it's time for us to move on into a 5 that we can pick for you. It is tonight's top 5.
Top 5. Who's your top 5? My top 5 is. My top 5 is. My top 5 is.
Top 5, where I present a list and Vince listens to me say the list and he says something. Sometimes he doesn't.
We call it a conversation.
Tonight, keeping it in theme, we are going to be reviewing from 2020, His House, a very creepy psychological horror thriller that deals with immigration. And as Vincent said, it has an international cast in front of and behind the camera. So what I have for you, Vincent, are 5 films that also live in the world of immigration. This is the horrors of immigration.
Okay.
All right. Starting with number 5, a film from 2010, Undocumented.
Okay.
A small group of documentary filmmakers chronicle the trials and inequities faced by Mexican undocumented immigrants when they join a group of families crossing the border to record the experience firsthand. Their truck is pulled over and detained. And what happens next plunges their group into unimaginable horror. filmmakers Travis, Liv, Davey, and Jim are filming a documentary on illegal Mexican immigrants when, after interviewing several of the family members and harassing an employer of illegal immigrants named Whitaker, the group accompanies a large group of immigrants, including Davey's cousin Alberto and his wife and child, across the Mexican-United States border in this 2010 independent horror thriller directed by Chris Peckover and starring Scott McCullough, Alana Tal, Yancey Aris, and Peter Stormare, excuse me. An undocumented.
Okay.
Does that sound like an interesting film to you?
Sure.
Yeah, sounds like
Sure. Have you seen it?
I've not seen that film.
Me either.
But it's interesting that it's 2010,
Right.
so that's almost 15 years ago, and you're making horror about crossing the border.
Right.
You know, that's how long this has been in the zeitgeist.
Right. Okay.
The whole idea. Number 4.
Number 4.
We have from 2016, Children of the Fall.
Oh.
Rachel Strode, a young immigrant with a dark secret in her past, comes to Israel in the fall of 1973 to volunteer at a kibbutz and then to convert to Judaism. Soon, she realizes that the local kibbutz members don't seem to like strangers and foreigners, and the evening of Yom Kippur will bring danger to her and her young volunteering friends. What begins as a time of fun and the celebration of youth turns into a menacing and bloody night of terror, which will give a new meaning to Yom Kippur of 1973. Children of the Fall is a thriller juggling the fine line between drama and horror with a strong social and political commentary and a nod to 1970s horror films. It spills new blood into the Hebrew horror genre.
I did not know that was a genre.
I was unaware of that genre. I did not see it at my local Blockbusters all the time. So
Also sounds interesting.
okay, all right, there you go.
All right.
Number 3, we have Shelter
Okay.
from 2014, written and directed by Paul Bettany, the actor. In his directorial debut, this film stars Jennifer Connelly and Anthony Mackie, as well as featuring a supporting cast of Rob Morgan and Bruce Altman. Tahir, an illegal immigrant from Nigeria, and Anna, a heroin addict, live homeless on the streets of Manhattan.
Like the worst comedy ever.
Tahir, a devout Muslim who is polite to everyone he meets, survives by performing music in the city parks, while Hannah lies, steals, and sells her body to get her next fix. When Tahir saves Hannah from a suicide attempt, they form a friendship, and over the year that follows, they share their past, their friendships, and then turn to loves. Their circumstances begin to improve, but Tahir falls ill and eventually, quote-unquote, joins his wife and child who died in Nigeria. His love for Hannah helps her overcome her addiction and return her to her son in California. So as I have just given the entire plot.
Right. It sounds terrible. I'm never going to watch this. My God, that was depressing.
That's not
Do
depressing.
they
It's
hand out
uplifting.
razor blades at the showings? Like, my God, this is terrible.
You don't want to see Anthony Mackie play a Nigerian immigrant laughing and singing and playing music in
Until
the
he
park?
dies?
No, he joins his wife and son.
Who have died?
Die is a metaphor.
Is it? It didn't sound metaphorical from the way you just described it.
It's a metaphor for gone away.
Yes.
All right, that's number 3.
All right.
Number 2.
Number 2.
From 2022. This is a very depressing list.
Yes.
Nanny, a 2022 psychological horror written and directed by Nukatu Jutsu in her feature directorial debut. It stars Anna Diop, Michelle Monaghan, and Morgan Spector. Piercing together a new life in New York City while caring for the child of an Upper East Side family, an immigrant nanny named Aisha is forced to confront a concealed truth that threatens to shatter her precarious American dream. In this psychological horror, Nanny. Now, we're both fans of Anna Diop.
Yeah, and this is very much on my list.
Yeah. I haven't seen that one. I want to see that one.
I want to see this one pretty bad.
That sounds pretty interesting. All right. And number one. And I think this may actually be a film that you have seen.
Okay.
From 2009.
Okay.
A science fiction thriller action film, more or less, directed by Neil Blomkamp. District 9.
Yes.
His feature film debut. The film stars Sharita Copley, Jason Cope, and David James. It's partially presented as a found footage format and explores themes of humanity, xenophobia, and social segregation as it begins in an alternate 1982 when an alien spaceship appears over Johannesburg, South Africa. When a population of sick and malnourished insectoid aliens is discovered on the ship, the South African government confines them to an internment camp called District 9. And then 20 years later, during the government's relocation of the aliens to another camp, one of the confined aliens named Christopher Johnson was about to try to escape from Earth with his son to return home. In District 9. Have you seen District 9?
Oh, yeah.
Were you a fan of the film?
I liked it. I didn't like it as much as everybody else.
Yeah, there was a lot of people really...
Like everybody kind of fell over about it, and I had to, man, it was all right.
I think it's the reason why people fell over. It's like because it did feel like, it tried to make it feel like it was found footage. And it was done on like a shoestring budget.
Sure.
But had some really interesting and intriguing
it's not
special
bad
effects in it.
I just said, people kind of fell out over it.
Yeah, they did.
And I was like, it's all right.
Yeah.
And in full disclosure, I was a huge fan, remain a huge fan of Alien Nation.
Yes.
Which I think dealt with these issues in a much more nuanced way. Both the film and the television series.
I haven't seen the movie in a long time.
I was a big fan of the movie
because interested in how new.
And I really liked the television show.
Yeah, the show I think only lasted a season, maybe 2.
Yeah, but then remember it had like 2 or 3 movies afterwards.
Did they?
Like every couple of years they would make these Alien Nation movies.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's one of those obscure fandoms that I'm a part of. It's like that in the Land of the Lost fandom.
That's not obscure. A lot of people like Land of the Lost. Are you talking about the old like the Sid and Marty Krofft show?
Right, do like people like Sid and Marty Crawford or people like Land of the Lost?
No, there's a lot of people that like Land of the Lost.
Right.
I mean, because the Land of the Lost
aging out.
What?
We're aging out.
Yes, you are dying off.
Yeah, I don't know how many of the young people are watching Land of the Lost.
No, there are no new fans.
All right, okay.
But
right, it's not Star Wars or Star Trek.
Yeah.
Right.
You're not being reintroduced to Land of the Lost.
Right.
Not at all.
Right.
But there's still a fair number of you.
It is embarrassing how often I talk about Chaka from Land of the Lost.
I don't remember any of the characters.
Remember he was the little cave boy who would help him.
Okay,
Chaka do good. Chaka do good. Chaka find food.
I know this now.
Yeah.
Okay, never do
Chaka
that again.
would run around with him.
Chaka?
Chaka. He was Chaka. He was a little cave boy. He was a little cave boy. Ask me where Chaka's family was.
Where was Chaka's family?
He was never addressed. Chaka was just a little cave boy running around with him.
Because they probably killed him.
Yeah.
They probably killed his family.
And they remember the actor who played their father quit.
And they had to...
And he left. And then...
Wait, whoa. No. I want to preface this. Ladies and gentlemen, you are about to hear one of the dumbest things to ever happen in a TV show since Bobby Hewing woke up and a whole season was a dream. Continue.
So the premise of Land of the Lost is that a man and his 2 kids were out. It was actually a really catchy theme song that told the whole plot. And they were out camping, and when they were kayaking or they were in a whitewater raft, they go through some type of space-time portal. It's never really clear because the Sleestacks were aliens.
Yes.
And they went to the land of the lost where there were dinosaurs and aliens. But
dinosaurs.
But the whole premise was that they were lost.
Yes.
And they couldn't get home, so they were just gone. So the actor who played the father at some point
Said, screw you
quit
guys.
and or was fired. I actually don't know I don't remember the backstory off the top of my head. So on the television show, the father got rescued and went back to Earth. And at the same time, the kid's uncle got lost in the land of the lost.
Who at that time was looking for them.
Who was looking for, so then their uncle was there. And if I remember correctly, didn't they redo the theme song?
Yes, because they had to include the uncle.
And then Dad got rescued, but then Uncle Billy got lost too.
In the land
Of the lost. Even as a wee lad, I said, this is shaky.
Yeah, this is
This is real shaky right here.
it's a little iffy.
Yeah.
It's really bad. It's really bad.
But yeah, I thought District 9 was all right, but I was never really. It's like, it's all right.
Okay. All right.
You liked it?
I liked it enough, yeah. Yeah.
When was the last time you watched it?
It's been a minute.
Exactly.
Okay. I didn't love it.
I know, but
I
people
loved
talked
it.
about it like we were going to be talking about it 30 years from now, like it was The Matrix or something. Like, yeah, it was all right.
Okay, yeah, it's probably not a movie people are going to rediscover.
Yeah, it was all right.
No, it's not. You know.
All right.
All right, that is the top five.
All right.
It is now time for us to move into the Game of Kings, which is 6 Degrees of D'Urville Martin.
But you know, it's different.
6 Degrees of D'Urville Martin, where Vincent has 6 films or less to connect 2 actors to D'Urville Martin, a man who is never lost.
Could not be replaced by a new character.
No, but is in a land of his own.
Yes, sir.
All right, Vincent, keeping it in theme,
In theme.
we are going to give you 2 actors, both of African descent.
Oh, okay.
All right. Number 1, this actor who was born in Johannesburg, South Africa
Oh, so they're white.
in 1892.
Okay, all right. Who we
You
got?
connect D'Urville Martin in 6 films or less to Basil Rathbone.
See, the problem with Basil Rathbone is the only thing I know him from are the Sherlock Holmes movies.
No, it's not.
What else do I know him from besides the Sherlock Holmes movies?
Hello, welcome to Sherwood Forest.
He's in Robin Hood with Errol Flynn?
Yes.
Is he?
Yes.
Is he the sheriff?
Yes.
Interesting.
Do you know who is the wait a minute, let me make sure I remember his name because you're gonna laugh at me. Do you know who plays who's the king? King is Richard, right?
Yeah.
King Richard in that?
I don't.
I'm about to tell you. It is someone who you made fun of way long ago. I'm gonna make man. Claude Rains.
Oh, for God's sake.
But Basil Rathbone.
So he's in the Sherlock Holmes movies.
Yes.
He's in Robin Hood.
Yes.
The bad thing, the only thing I ever know about Errol Flynn is
Robin Hood.
Robin Hood. And I'm looking at him in a suit.
Oh, yeah. He's been in a bunch of movies and suits, but, like, you'd have to be able to pull him.
Yeah, I need more with Basil Roth. Who plays Watson? Somebody that can't help.
He's a British actor. He's
Who
not-
plays Moriarty?
They're all British.
Just all British.
And they're all like that time British.
Yeah,
Like they're not going to help you. Like I honestly thought that Errol Flynn or Claude Rains might help you.
Yeah, because I forgot about what was Errol Flynn in? So what's his other big thing besides Robin Hood?
His other big thing is what is it, the Black Pirate? It's nothing that's going to help you.
Yeah, it's something with no swords though.
I mean, well, that was his thing,
Right.
the sword movies, and he did some westerns. But
Why were we talking about Claude Rains?
because he's in Robin Hood. Oh, I brought him up one time, and you were laughing that he was not a star.
Right, because he wasn't.
He was a
He was
star.
just a working dude.
He was a star.
Yeah, you gotta give me something with Basil Rathbone.
Well, okay. Okay, I'm giving you the one. He's good with Claude Rains. All right. Claude Rains, just to tell you how ubiquitous this actor is to you, Mr.
Was in what?
He was in Notorious with Cary Grant.
With Cary Grant. All right.
All right,
Well,
so that's two.
all right. Well, that's all I need then. So Claude Rains is in Robin Hood with Basil Rathbone, is what you're saying?
Yeah, the Rathbone, yes.
Okay. So, I think that's pretty easy then. Because Derville Martin is in Guess Who's Coming to Dinner with Katharine Hepburn. Is that Katharine Hepburn in My Girl Friday?
No. My Girl Friday is Ida Lupino.
Katharine Hepburn.
No, it's not Ida Lupino, but it's not Katharine Hepburn.
Is she in not Philadelphia? What's the one in
You're
Philly?
right. The Philadelphia Story.
The Philadelphia Story
It's in
with
the
Cary
Philadelphia
Grant.
Story. Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So she's in Philadelphia Story with Cary Grant, and Cary Grant is in
Notorious.
Notorious
With Claude Rains.
with Claude Rains, who's in Robin
The
Hood
Adventures of Robin Hood.
with
Basil.
Rathbone.
Rathbone.
Who the bad thing is, I can't even see his face. Like, you know who I think about when you say his name?
Who are you thinking of?
I think about the mouse in the Great Mouse
The
Detective.
Great Mouse Detective. Oh, okay.
Like, I don't even see his face.
You don't even.
I just see the great
the mouse that's pretending
I'm
to be.
sitting here trying to. Well, how do I get to Ratatouille? Like, I just think about the Great Mouse Detective. Every now and then somebody talks about like the sort of ambient culture that we all got from like cartoons and stuff.
Oh, yeah,
like they'll
yeah,
talk
yeah.
about the opera and classical music, but it's like that. Like, I'm pretty sure I saw The Hounds of Baskerville, but I 100% just think about the Great Mouse Detective.
Of course.
Yeah, so
Of course. All right.
right.
All right.
How do I get to the secret of Nim? I'm just thinking about mouse stuff. Five goes west.
All right. Number two.
So that's South African. All right.
Also from South Africa, from Uppington, South Africa,
Ooh, that sounds white.
born in 1954.
That sounds like somebody grew up there calling people coffer boy. And go ahead.
Well, her father was Dr. Lewis, who was, I almost gave the last name, who worked as a young physician, and her mother was a clinical psychologist. Mm-hmm. In 6 films or less, connect Derville Martin to Alice Krieg.
Alice, who is that?
You know her.
Let me see her picture.
I love how you just like, let me see her picture.
Yeah, let me see.
Let me see her.
Alice Krieg?
Yes. Cover the top half.
Come on. She looks like what's her name? Who played the Who am I thinking about that plays the ancient one?
Oh, you're thinking about you're thinking about I know who you're thinking about.
Yeah, I don't know who that woman is.
Damn it, I can't think. I know exactly who you're thinking about.
What is she in? Who is this? Who is this person, Lynn?
Alice Creek?
Uh-huh.
Oh. Now you got me trying to think of the name of the actress who plays the
Sure,
ancient
welcome
one,
to my
who
world.
actually plays Katharine Hepburn in The Aviator.
Sure. Who is this woman? What is she in?
Okay, I'm gonna give you the last film that she was in
Okay.
from 2022. Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, the remake. Yeah, I don't know who's in there. Nobody's in the remake.
She was.
Yes, very nice. What's she famous for?
If I give you the movie she's famous for, it's going to give it away.
You mean if you tell me why people know who she is?
Yes, it'll give it away.
So I would not know who she was. I wouldn't know who she was, but like when people know who she is,
the game will be easy.
like you couldn't pick like Charlize Theron. Like you pick somebody been dead 100 years, and then you pick somebody who she's known for something, but you can't tell me what she's known for.
She was also in Thor: The Dark World.
Who was she in Thor: The Dark World?
Her character was Eir, E-I-R.
Well, of course. Was she a bad guy? I mean, Thor's easy, but
I mean, I don't know, but she was in Thor.
yeah, this is no fun. If
It's no fun if I give you the one that she's in.
why would you pick somebody that's in stuff that it's no fun to get to them if that's the only thing they were in?
Because I thought you would know the character. I thought you would know her name, honestly. I thought you would.
Why would I know this woman's name?
Because you are a huge fan of everything Star Trek.
Who is she in Star Trek?
She is famously the Borg Queen. Do you want to tell me that that's not?
I know you
prominent
didn't
role?
just show me a white woman that when she's in the movie, they have her under 15 pounds of prosthetics in a bald wig and stuff and say, how did you not know her? You might as well have shown me the actor who plays Chewbacca.
But I honestly thought you would have known her name.
Why would I know her name?
Because you're a huge fan of Star Trek, so you know the names of actors.
This is
It's
a
not
terrible one.
one.
This is a terrible one.
No,
I'm
it's
not even doing it.
No, it's
I'm not even doing
What
it.
do you mean you're not doing it?
I'm not doing it.
What do you mean?
You can do it on your own. You can get to Star Trek and you can get to Thor. Like how you pick somebody from the Marvel stuff and the Star Trek stuff that don't nobody even know who they were in it.
Dude, I'm telling you, there are tons of Star Trek fans who are just as
If
much
that
a fan.
woman walks down the street and doesn't say what her name is, she just walked down the street.
Yeah.
How many Star Trek fans are stopping that woman in the picture you just showed me? With just regular hair and she just walking down the street going to getting a bagel.
I bet if it's 10 Star Trek fans that are walking by her, 5 of them know who she is.
You would lose that bet all the time.
I don't think so.
Not that woman.
I don't think so. She's a prominent character.
Yes, underneath 10 pounds of makeup.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Kate Blanchett is the actress we're thinking of that plays
Right. That is a terrible choice.
That is not a terrible choice.
It's a terrible choice.
It's not.
It's a terrible choice.
It's not. It's not at all.
It's a terrible choice. Samuel Jackson Marvel sludge to get to her. There you go.
I don't think that's a terrible choice.
It's a terrible choice.
Especially considering how big of a Star Trek fan that you
Do
are.
better.
I don't think that...
Do better.
I
Do
did
better.
fine. You need to do better. You
like,
need to do better on your Trek, though.
Anytime you started with they were born in the 19th century.
They weren't born in 19th.
No, I'm back to Basil Rothborn. Yeah. Do better. Those are two terrible choices.
No, they weren't.
Come on, let's
they
talk
were
about the
hard,
movie.
But they weren't...
No, they were bad.
They weren't bad.
There's hard,
They weren't bad.
and then there's
They
bad.
weren't bad. Alice Creek should have been a layup
Like-
for as big of a Star Trek fan as you are. Alice Creek should have been a layup. Honestly, I'm dead honest, Vince. That should have been a layup.
Did she play the Borg Queen more than once?
Yes.
Did she play the Borg Queen more than once? Yes. Did she play the Borg Queen more than once?
Yes. Yes. Do you want me to tell you? She not only is so famous as playing the board queen, she played the board queen in the video game as well.
Oh, the video game.
But she played the. You know what?
This is a terrible choice.
It's not a terrible choice.
We should probably have a prosthetics rule.
Now you want a prosthetics rule?
I mean, it's probably not a bad rule.
I'm sorry, man. I think that she played the board queen in First Contact, and she played the board queen on Voyager.
She played it on Voyager. She was on an episode of Voyager.
Yes, and she voiced the board queen. This is how ubiquitous she is as the board queen.
Ubiquitous is doing a lot of work.
Well, she voiced the board queen on both Lower Decks and Star Trek Picard.
So that wasn't even her on Picard? You said she voiced her?
Yes.
So that wasn't even her on Picard?
Yes, they're saying it was her voice. Well, by then she probably aged out on it. I mean, she did it so long ago.
Right, because the 30 pounds of makeup that she'd had.
But she is still so ubiquitous that they didn't hire the other actress. She still did the voice. So she basically was like James Earl Jones.
But her visual was so anybody could do the visual. They could do her voice.
Okay, but she was an older
because she was under 10 pounds of makeup.
She's an older actress at that point.
Right.
I honestly think that was a good choice. That was a good choice, and that's shame on you.
Shame on me.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah. All right. This is Khan level choice right here.
That's Khan, like the Wrath of Khan.
Yes.
What do you mean? Is it Khan level?
No, that was me being sarcastic. It wasn't Khan level. All right. Tilda Swinton. She looked like Tilda Swinton a little bit. Who would have a rougher time walking down the street than, what's her name?
Alice Creed. No, I said Star Trek fans would know her. I didn't say like the average person would know her, an average Hollywood fan, or just some rando Star Trek fan.
She's going to be like bald-headed with all them wires and stuff coming out her face.
All right, let's move into our review. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Can't do it. I'm going home.
You better not go to this house.
Time for our review of His House.
His House, a 2020 horror drama, is a story about a refugee couple who makes a harrowing escape from war-torn South Sudan. But then they struggle to adjust to their new life in an English town that has an evil lurking beneath the surface. Starring Sophie Desaru, Wunbi Mosaku, and Matt Smith, this was a film directed by Remy Weeks, by a story written by Felicity Evans and Toby Venables. This was the choice of Lynn Webb as we continue through Boo-tober. Lynn, how would you like to begin our conversation about His House?
This is a movie that I actually watched blindly.
Okay.
Like maybe a little over a month ago.
Okay.
For something to watch on Netflix. And happened upon this. Umi Misaka's actress that we have both enjoyed.
Absolutely.
And pretty much everything she's done. So when I saw that she was in this film, starring in this film, I was like, okay, I'm going to sit down and watch this. And then just the whole premise of it, because it's a horror film. And like most horror films, like you joked, like it's about a haunted house in a way. It's about a supernatural being in this haunted house that is trying to scare, more or less, this couple that moves into this house. But that's where its trappings in horror or traditional horror really end. Because this movie is first and foremost about the horror of being an immigrant, one, having to leave your home. And what that looks like, especially when you're leaving a home where you're escaping violence. And then to find yourself in a world totally unlike your own, where everything now becomes a horror. Because as much as you were trying to escape violence, you are also leaving, to a degree, comfort. You know, the comfort of knowing where you are, knowing where the danger is, knowing how to elude the danger. Here, the danger is everywhere. The danger is just in the unknown. The danger is in the unknown of you. And then on top of that, put on top of that is there is a guilt that is on this couple is dealing with, and one is a bit of the survivor's guilt of being able to escape, you know, South Sudan, which is where they're leaving, and the violence that is erupting there. There's a survivor's guilt of being able to escape when your whole family, your friends, your family, your whole way of life, your tribes were unable to escape. And then there is how you escaped. And the way that they escaped, and we probably might give it away a little bit towards the end of our review, but the less you know going into this film, the better. The way you escape and the weight that you carry from that, and how that now trucks into you know, African mythology, which is where the supernatural comes into this film, that Remy Weeks pieces together. It is just so smartly done that even though there are some jump scares in this film, even though there is a supernatural at play, just having to walk with the weight on your back, in your presence, in your face, on your shoulders, in your shoes, it's riveting to watch. But it is also very I don't know. I just felt for the couple. Like I was there with them. I was there in this moment. The movie starts basically with them leaving Sudan. And they're a couple, and they're basically being chased by the guns and violence and gangs all over, and people are trying to squeeze themselves onto this one bus that is going to make it away. And these are people that are going to be arriving in England illegally. But they're trying to squeeze themselves onto a bus so that they can make it to the shore, so that they can perhaps get on a boat that they just hope will make it across the seas to get them to England. Right. And they maneuver their way onto the bus. They maneuver their way onto the boat. The seas are it's of course it's a storm at sea. It's basically inflatable raft that is built for maybe 7 people. There's about 20, 30 people on this boat. So you can imagine what happens is that tries to make it over to England. Eventually, they somehow make it to asylum in England. And while they are in asylum, they are put into a home that as long as they do not leave the home, do not really make any friends, do not pretty much do anything to the house. But as long as that is where they begin their day and end their day, they can stay in that home. That will be their home while they are in England, while they're waiting to see whether or not they will be able to be granted some type of citizenship.
Right.
So it's while they're in asylum. And this is a home,
And they have to stay in there.
they have to stay in that home.
Right.
They can't move
Right. Trying
any
to
other
get
place.
to the citizenship.
Right. And and this is a home that is like, it's basically a refugee house. It's basically in a housing project in England, where it's disgusting. It wasn't cleaned out before they got there. There's rotting food all over the place. The cabinets are falling off. The door literally comes off the hinges as they are walking into. They're being walked in and presented with the house by their, I guess, social worker of a sort, played by Matt Smith.
Yeah.
Of Doctor Who fame, and The Crown fame, and
House of the Dragon.
And House of the Dragon, and but you have to imagine you're not really you're not given a glimpse of what home was in Sudan, but you have to imagine, as dilapidated as this 2-story home is, it is possibly likely better than where they were. Mm-hmm. If for no other reason that there are not guns going off in the middle of the night, there are not people being pulled out of their house and killed or hacked to death, as you learn later in the film. It happened to some of their family members. And in trying to assimilate here in this world in England, there is definitely a tension between the couple that you sense. You sense that they have a tension that, as I mentioned, because of the survivor's guilt of how they came to this circumstance, as well as you hearing allusions as to how they got there, because they lost their daughter along the way. Their daughter was lost at sea as they made their way to England. And there is, you get a sense of guilt on their part, and you're wondering, who wants to bury their daughter? You never want to bury your children. But then you're wondering, there seems to be some question as to whether or not they did enough to save their child. And then it appears that their child spirit is haunting them in the house, which has now got them questioning whether or not, the child is actually even dead. The wife, Rael, tells her husband, Bol, about this story that her grandmother told her about an abbot that would sometimes take hold in a house to haunt a couple, and she's feeling like an abbot is now in their home in the spirit of their daughter. And we could talk a little bit more about the story. Let Vincent share his lights on it. But it is an affecting story, dealing with them just having to deal with this, being this fish out of water, more or less. There's a scene. He used to work at a bank, but now he just has to basically find work, But there's a scene where while he is out trying to find work, she has to make her way to the doctor. Mm-hmm. And she's been drawn a map of how to make her way through their housing project to the doctor, whose office is supposed to be right on the outside of the project, right? But there's these driveways and alleyways that you're supposed to turn right, boom, boom, boom. And and as she makes her way, she seemingly gets turned around, that may be one of the most scariest moments in this film because you're unsettled for what will happen to her because she does not speak good English. She speaks English, but it's you know, she has some trouble with the language. And in this project where she lives, where they're supposed to be housed refugees, it's seemingly they are the only refugees there right now. So it is only basically people who cannot afford any better living in this project. And there are those who are either mocking them. There are you see these three young boys who mock her and make fun of her and do their best to try and get her lost in this situation. She seems to turn down one aisle to alleyway to then just come upon another alleyway. There are barking dogs that she can't see, but she just hears, and she don't know because they may be right around that corner, and it's very trepidatious. And all the while, Umi Masaka wears this burden on her face because as burdened as she is with the guilt, and probably as little unnerved as she is in this moment, and as horrified as we are, the viewer, for her, there's also a bit of weariness in her face because she realizes all of this ain't nothing compared to where I came from. And there are moments where she is actually looking out the window and she's looking at the people just in in the project, and she's like, look at them, they're just so bored, you know, because they don't realize what they have. They don't realize how, you know, they don't know the other side. She and her husband Bowl, they know the other side, and they are living with it every day, every moment, and that is the horror that this film really like punches home on. All the supernatural stuff is there. That's just to get you in the building. That is the horror that this film really trucks in, and it is fantastically filmed by Joe Williams, is the cinematographer. There is not. It's pitch perfect film. And I knew when I saw it about a month ago, I said, oh, we have to watch this for Bootober. This is just excellent craftsmanship.
I wanted to like this more than I ended up liking.
Wow.
I know. I think this is a film that looks great. I'll start with where you and I both agree. I think the film looks great. Mm-hmm. I think because neither of us are from England, I don't know how much the film is doing this and how much of it is we're just not familiar with England. But I think the film does a wonderful job framing this English village as alien.
Okay.
As you said, I agree with you. My favorite scene in the film is when Umi Masaka's character gets turned around. Mm-hmm. And it's almost like a maze. And it's one of these moments in the film that, frankly, I wanted more of, where you're not quite sure if something supernatural is going on or if this is just the alien nature of being in this environment.
Okay.
As a refugee, as someone looking for citizenship and asylum. I think I think where this film underwhelmed me was in how I didn't get the sense that I knew exactly what the film was going for. I think the sentiment that they are seeking asylum and now they've moved into this house, and it's a bit of a red herring where early on the character played by Matt Smith says usually you all refugees don't get houses this big, and
or all to themselves.
or all to themselves. It's usually more people, and then they say, well, why did we get it? And then he kind of ominously says, well, I guess you won the lottery, so that you think that there's going to be an issue with the house, just the house itself and this location, and that's not the issue at all. I think, as you said, you think that maybe the conflict is going to be they're trying to fit into this new world. And while Umi Masaka's character pretty much stays in the house, her husband's character, and let me Bull, played by Sophie DeRusso, actually kind of makes an effort to become part of this community, like
assimilate,
to assimilate, like you know, there's this great scene where he buys clothes exactly like the ad. There's a wonderful moment where he goes to a local pub and starts singing a soccer fight song with everyone in the pub. But having watched the film from the beginning to the end, everyone in the town, as far as he is concerned, is actually pretty welcoming. Like everyone actually, like at one point, someone invites him to the church and gives him a basket. You know, like I said, there he's welcomed into the pub. As far as we know, this one scene, there's a moment, speaking of a red herring, where their neighbor is sort of creepy, and says, "I bet you won't make it a month." But then that line of the plot never goes anywhere, like you assume. And even Matt Smith is pretty much straight ahead,
a straightforward person,
straightforward character, the whole film. So that then, okay, so we've got this haunted house plot, and we know the haunted house, the haunting doesn't come from the location,
right?
So then, as it goes on, you realize, okay, well, this is a case of what happened in the Sudan has followed them. And this is their history, and this is everything that happened, and you think that it's the trauma of the experience and everything that goes with that, and now that's the conflict. And it is.
Yes.
But what you find out 20 minutes before the film is over, as you said, in the journey, they've lost their daughter. So that the film sort of sets up that part of this haunting is what's going on with the daughter. It's almost like a version of what happens in Beloved, where you had this harrowing, traumatic experience in the past, and now it's haunting you.
Right.
But then you find out these details about what actually happens with their daughter 20 minutes before the film goes off. That completely recontextualizes the film.
Everything you've seen.
And everything you've seen. But for me, it was too little too late. Like I almost wish that the film was cut in a way that the last 20 minutes that was the flashback actually had started the film. So that throughout the whole film, we know exactly what this couple had to do to get out, because now that complicates it. Now it's now you know you're trying to figure out, because without that, it was too linear for me, frankly. Like there was no complication. As you said, we both love
Umi Asaka.
Umi Asaka. I think she elevates this material,
Yes.
but I don't think she is nearly as good as she can be. You know, and you think about something like Lovecraft Country, which to me is when both of us said, oh, well, she's the one right there. Likewise, I don't think Matt Smith is doing nearly as much as he could in this film. And I do at an hour, you know, a little under an hour and a half. It's a very short film.
Yes, it's only about an hour and a half, yeah.
It just wasn't enough there for me.
Okay.
to kind of be invested. Again, until you get to this moment towards the end where suddenly it complicates everything. And then it's, again, that's too little too late. The point that the scene that we both like the best is, as you mentioned, as she's lost in this maze and she is mocked by these three British boys. But I think it's worth pointing out that these are black British boys. So then you have this really complicated kind of moment of what does racial identity mean, and how does this work with, you know, your ethnicity and your nationality, and how does this work together? But it's never explored. Like, it's never really unpacked in any sort of way. So that I have to say, I came away from this film wanting more than I got.
Yeah.
And frankly, a little underwhelmed with what was on the screen. And you know, for me, I mentioned Beloved. You know, it committed the cardinal sin for me, that I'm watching it and it reminded me of better films. So besides Beloved, you know, frankly, my favorite, you know, everyone knows I'm not a horror person, but my favorite horror film of all time is Poltergeist.
Okay.
And it reminded me of Poltergeist, but then it suffers in the comparison. So that, yeah, again, I wanted to, like, I was right there, but when it went off, I really was ultimately underwhelmed with what I got.
I don't know, man. To see, okay. I mean, your experience is your experience. I was there, man. It does start. I guess it's not a flash. It's not seen as a flashback when it starts.
Well, you get a little flashback, but you don't get the most important part of the flashback.
But that's the idea.
Right.
It's not to get that. You know, you don't want that in the beginning. They're trying to tease you. He's trying to set you up, trying to just get you set up so that you are feeling for this couple.
But he's so much more complicated.
No, he is.
Once you know
but
the whole deal.
Well, to be fair, you said it's like 20 minutes, and it is a short film. I think it might be a little bit closer to about the last 40 minutes.
No, it's 20 because I looked.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It worked for me. That's all I can say, is that it worked for me when you do find out the twist. It worked for me because I was up on my feet, because at that point there's a certain person in this film that I'm like, oh, dog, like you was just foul. You was just all the way foul.
Right. But your judgment of him is based on this level of safety and privilege that you have. Like, we have the safety and privilege to judge his actions. But you have to acknowledge that in that situation, this level of desperation that everyone has. You said, like, the guns are firing, and you know, I think he is trying to protect his family. And he did, you know, he kind of...
Yeah. Okay, we're couching it a little bit, because he's trying to protect his family, but he also pulls a huge get over. He pulls a huge get over.
Again, but now this makes this character someone that, I'm going to keep using the word complicate, like you have these very complicated feelings now about both of them.
Well, yeah, you do.
And again,
you do. And now you understand that it's not just survivor's guilt that is on them. It's guilt of another color.
But again,
of another weight.
How do you judge someone trying to survive? Like, obviously we can. Obviously we don't condone the actions that they made. Yeah, but, you know.
No, you don't.
You hope you would never do something like that. You hope that you wouldn't.
No, you know what? No, I'm not. I'm sorry. It's not that I hope I would never do that. I would never do that. The reason, and I think the reason. Okay, do we want to spoil it?
Yeah, I guess we should. Okay, so spoiler.
Spoiler alert. The daughter that they lose is not their daughter. It is actually just a young girl who, when they're trying to make their way onto the bus.
Right, the bus is only taking children and families with children.
And families with children.
And they are a couple that does not have a child.
Right. And so they can't, they're not going to take them on. There's guns firing.
Right.
There's a young girl that is standing there, seemingly on her own. And Ball grabs her and says, it's a child. And then they let him and his wife and the girl on the bus. When they are on the bus, the girl is calling for her mother, who is now outside the window. So you now realize, oh, this is not their child.
Right. They've taken someone's child.
They have taken someone's child, and this mother is now racing after the bus. And it's lost in this cloud of smoke, and you're left to possibly believe that under a hail of bullets. And this child that, they use to get on the bus is the child that they lose at sea.
All right. So that's the end of the spoiler. People were saying, all right, let's wait. All right, that's the end of the spoiler, y'all.
All right.
So that complicates it to me.
That complicates it like a mug. But that is something that I can definitively say I would never do.
Okay.
Even under survival,
well,
I am not doing that.
I've never been desperate, so I'm not going to say what I wouldn't do if I was desperate enough. But my overall point is, I think if that moment is the foundation of this film, so much of what comes after, you get this nuance, you get this level of again, complication that, frankly, I was not invested enough to circle back around and watch it again.
Okay.
And a lot of that is because, again, I think there's a fair amount of red herrings about what's going on. I
think Matt Smith is actually, maybe this is just me. I think he is purposefully cast because Matt Smith does have a little bit of a weird look about him.
Absolutely, 100%.
And the fact that Dylan over there is like, God, yes. But the fact, just like you said, that he pretty much plays it straight in this movie,
right.
It gets you, because you're just waiting for the other beat with him.
Right.
And it never comes.
Right.
And I think that's one of those red herrings. He's setting up, you think you know where this is going. You think it's going to be this. You think it's going to be that. No, it's all about the horror within themselves more so than anything else. I love this movie.
Yeah, I was underwhelmed. I was underwhelmed, and I wanted to be whelmed.
Okay.
So,
well, before you,
but the real question is, of course, would you recommend this film?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I would recommend this wholeheartedly that people watch His House.
I think you can skip it.
Wow. Really, Vincent?
I think you can skip it. I do. I think there are better haunted house movies. I think there are better.
Are there better movies? Sure.
Yeah.
But that's now you're judging it against other movies.
Well, look, sure. On its own, I don't think it's enough there. I don't think it's enough there.
Okay.
And again, it frustrates me. I think what frustrates me is the aspect of the story that I think would have made it pop and made it kind of rise or sort of differentiate itself from the other haunted house films. Again, by the time you learn this detail, I just was not invested. I just was not invested.
Okay.
So I would say skip it.
All right. Well,
All right.
Vincent says you should skip his house.
And Lynn says you should watch it.
I say you should. There you go. So
When in doubt,
go.
follow the recommendation of the person that says watch it.
Thank you.
I mean, that's what I always say. Like, I always think you should, like, you know, if it's a split decision, I think the split decision should always go to the movie.
There you go. All right. Before we tell you what we're going to be reviewing next week here on the Micheaux Mission, I invite you to, if you haven't already, and if you're in the Philadelphia area, get your tickets. Get them. Get them now. Because next Wednesday, October 23rd, Vincent and I and our good friend Stephanie from the Be Real Black Cinema Club will return to Bryn Mawr Film Institute for the Be Real Micheaux screening series as we close out 2024 with Attack the Block.
A film we both recommend.
Oh, wholeheartedly. And a film that I know from my friend base, people are lining up to see. I've got like at least 20 people coming to this movie.
It's a great film.
It is.
I can't wait to see it
excellent
on a
film.
big screen.
I know. I've never seen it on a big
Yeah,
screen
yeah,
either.
I'm really
So
looking
I
forward
can't
to
wait. I can't wait. Next Wednesday, October 23rd, 7 p.m., Bryn Mawr Film Institute. Get your tickets now. They are on sale at brynmarfilm.org. The Micheaux Mission is also available on all the social media of your choosing, whether or not it be Instagram, X, or Facebook at Micheaux Mission, which you can find on YouTube, where you can hit the bells and subscribe to be notified of when we put up new videos and shorts, and be notified when we go live every Tuesday night right here from Young Junk, Philadelphia's premier video podcast palace. If you want to book yourself in one of the many studios at Young Junk, email Dylan at youngjunk.com. That's DYLAN at youngjunk.com. And if you're feeling real friendly with those emails, why not send one to Vincent and Len so we can share your thoughts with the rest of the missionaries? Email us at micheauxmission@gmail.com. That's MICHEAUXMISSION@gmail.com. The Micheaux Mission is also a proud member of The Podglomerate. ThePodglomerate.com. They make podcasts work, such as ours, which you can find on everywhere that podcasts are found. Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio. Doesn't matter. If they got podcasts, they got the Micheaux Mission. Hey, follow and give us a 5-star rating and review. Tell people that you like the show, and tell a friend about the show. Next week, here on The Mission, we will be taking a trip to the year of 2022 to once again sit down with one of Vincent's favorite actors.
Oh, that's strong.
It is
Oh, who is it?
Regina Hall.
Oh, okay. Right. Right. No, because I thought we were doing, all right. No. Right. Go ahead. I was thinking about another movie. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yes, Regina Hall from 2022's Master.
Yes.
Next week here on the Micheaux Mission. Until then, he's Vincent, I'm Len, and in parting we say,
We'll see you when it's time to meet again.